Did you know they had to completely remake that video just for the PS3 HD port? That's why it's such better quality. Hi guys, welcome. Scatlink here, and we are starting a new Let's Play. This game was intentionally made to be a storytelling masterpiece as a playable art form, with hardly any dialogue. That means there still is dialogue, but not a lot. It's now got two spiritual sequels from the same developers, being Shadow of the Colossus and the newly released The Last Guardian for PS4. But this game and Shadow of the Colossus were both classed as some of the best PS2 games ever made. And because of this, they were remade into HD for the PS3 on a single disc, the ICO collection, with the bonuses, which I'll cover later. This game is kind of revolutionising Bloom special effects in games as well, in a way. Going through a massive castle. I'm just waiting for the title to appear. This is ICO. And I'll be doing a playthrough on this game, basically getting 100% even though the game is super linear. It's more about the experience than the actual gameplay. Now I'm immediately going to just choose continue just before it brings me out of a menu, because that can be slightly on the annoying side. This is actually one of my mum's very few games that she played. I didn't get the game, but I've kind of inherited a love for it from my mum, and I played it after a while. And it's a super short game, like I said, super linear, but it's not about the game. It's not really about the gameplay as such. It's more about the experience, the story, and the graphical effects, because the team like to make masterpieces as art more than a game, but they use a game to make it more interactive, and I kind of like that feature. And the Last Guardian's kind of a mesh between both ICO's exploration and Shadow of the Colossus' battles. I don't know if I'll ever do Shadow of the Colossus because I've never actually played it, and I want to play it with my mum, and I doubt she wants to be on the channel, so it probably won't be a blind thing. But we're covering ICO here today. And yeah, so as there's not going to be much story, I'll probably just read the instruction manual while the intro cutscenes are going off. But right now we're on the continue screen, not only to stop demos from playing and whatnot, but so I can actually talk. Now, notice my files here. Yeah, they're all pretty close in time, and then there's a massive jump. That, my friends, is my speedrun file, as well as the file we're going to be starting this game off with. That little symbol next to the time means that it's a New Game Plus file. If I choose to load that up, it'll actually start a new game down here, but we'll be getting bonuses. And even though it is kind of spoilerific because you're not supposed to know what some characters say because they have like special subtitles for that, and you won't be able to understand what they're saying because well, the voices is just some other language as well, possibly Japanese, but I'm not too sure. But because I'm doing New Game Plus, not only will we be able to know what they're saying for the purpose of the story as well as the Let's Play, I'll also be able to get the best ending, which you cannot do in a normal game. It's only an extra little bit, but it also gives you an achievement. And that's something else I wanted to talk about. I did say that I wanted to do this on PS2, but the quality wasn't so good, and I didn't really want to do it with the Dazzle, considering the quality. So I tried doing it on emulator, and we all know what that happened. Check my previous 2 updates ago. I'm going to press the home button right now, and come in here. If it wants to load, there we go. Right, where is my achievements? They're in network now, aren't they? I forget where they are. Where are the achievements? There they go. Right, so let's boot up ICO here. 71% so far in terms of completion. I didn't even have to wait for that to sync. That's amazing. So as you can see here, we're going to get most of these along the way. As I've already got them, I'll put a little achievement that looks very similar to the ones that the PS3 actually puts up in the corner, because these are more story-driven ones. We are going to be finishing the game getting Enlightenment, because I've prepared to have all the other trophies that we're not going to get in this run, in other runs of this game. Because the game is that short. It's seriously so short if I could beat it in under 2 hours. And by the way, that is a trophy. Look at my time. 1:59:49. Beat the game within 2 hours. I had 11 seconds to spare. You can skip cutscenes except for the credits, and I will have a separate video showing off how to speedrun the last chunk of the game from a certain point. And that's basically literally if you have saved at the final save point at this specific time, you can't screw up at all. If you do, you probably won't make it, because you have to sit for the credits, and there's no way on skipping them. That's literally the only cutscene you cannot skip. So, that's a thing. But, yeah. And of course, beat the game within 4 hours. That's what I got with playing the game. I can normally beat this game in under 4 hours without trying, really. Sometimes 4:30, but, you know. But I kind of got both of those at the same time. But yeah, I'm only showing these off now because we're not going to get these in the Let's Play, and even though we will have Enlightenment appear on the final episode, because I'm going to make sure that happens. I mean, for one thing, I've got Unscathed down here, which is beat the game without seeing the game over screen. That could happen, you don't know. But Enlightenment will appear on screen, but it won't be counted in the overall totals of this Let's Play. And Split the Watermelon, Shining Sword, and Bench Warmer will all be gotten in this Let's Play. Those are the ones I do not have, and they will be legit ones popping on screen. Funny thing is, the Spike Club and the Shining Sword are basically the same one, but you don't get the Spike Club in a new game playthrough, and you can only get the Shining Sword in a new game playthrough, where you would normally get the Spike Club. So, a little bit of spoilers for you right there. I know this intro is going on for bloody well long, but I thought I need to explain that just because of the way I've been structuring this Let's Play. With that, let's boot it up. In your own time. There we gizzle, for shizzle, diddly dizzle. Now, while we're waiting for dialogue to appear, I'm going to read the blurb of the box quickly, just so we have something to listen to, so we know the plot of the game in terms of what it doesn't actually show us. Aiko's nightmare began on the day he drew his first breath. When his parents raised their newborn child up to the light, a scream ran out through the night. For there, in plain view, was the sign of a curse. 2 horns, small but distinct, protruding from either side of Aiko's head. If you noticed in the intro, he did have horns on his head. That's why. On Aiko's 12th birthday, which is how old he is right now, 12, the faceless horsemen, which are the 2 guys rowing him in the boat, came for him. His family did not resist, nor did they weep for the loss of their child, for Aiko's fate was decided long ago. Dicks! The horsemen rode deep into the dark forest, and after many hours, a crumbling fortress came into view, which is this fortress. So, I'm going to stop talking about the story there, because we're going to actually see the rest of the story up to this point, but I will read it as it goes. But as you can see, this fortress is kind of impenetrable. They couldn't cross the bridge, so they had to take a boat in order to get here. And, as we can see right here, once again, Aiko definitely has horns on his head, and he's kind of tied up. Oh, this dude has had like a Naruto story, hasn't he? But instead he did have parents, only that they scorned him at every given turn. And I must say that I am actually glad that I did go out my way to get the PS3 version of this game, because one, I never owned Shadow of the Colossus. Two, this, not only is this ultra clear, but the textures have been completely redone. The models, though, have clearly been just imported, so that's a thing. But look at that sharpness! And that sword is amazing. Look at it. It's a light sword. But it's been sheathed, which is not exactly the most pleasant. Can I say that this room looks blurry as hell, and this was actually one of the rooms I couldn't actually, well, the room beforehand, was one that I couldn't see because of an emulator issue, which led me to get the PS3 version anyway. Just to clarify, this is 1080p. The game only supports 720 and 1080, and I'm recording this through the Dazzle in case, through the Roxio, in case people didn't know. Anyway, back to story. The horsemen dragged the terrified boy into a vast stone hall where they bundled him into an ancient stone casket and pulled the heavy lid shut. There's that casket. I don't normally read the instruction manual for the story, but like I said, the game doesn't really explain it that well. ICO was left alone in the darkness, doomed to spend the rest of his day in silent torment. Kind of dicks, really. It's like, they actually sympathise with him. For one thing, they have horns on their helmets, so I don't know, maybe that's something? Or is it just a hood masking their horns? If so, that would be even more dickish. But that's kind of a thing, really. Look at this hall, it's filled with caskets. Are these other sacrifices? That was my controller rumbling on my new desk. That is seriously high tech for a fortress that's kind of crumbling in on itself. Definitely looks like some kind of burial or sacrificial chamber with all these caskets around. Oh! Maybe fate is on our side! That looked painful. In fact, you can feel that because every time he hits his head, the controller rumbles. And I think that's actually pretty good, considering that the DualShock 2 and the DualShock 3 are pretty much the same. The only difference is that it's wireless. So, not going back to the instruction manual for just a moment here, where back then when the instruction manuals were still a thing. We're kind of like, even though it's got like a film grain kind of thing going on, we're actually seeing a dream of ICO when he knocked himself out. But this is also foreshadowing. Literally, in many ways, as you'll see here. I'm not going to say anything, just watch it happen. Heartless, perhaps? This isn't Kingdom Hearts. A shadow beast! No! What was that? Weird nightmare. Well, considering how ICO has been treated, that wouldn't surprise me. And I'm not going to read the last part of the paragraph, because we're going to actually see that for ourselves. That's just to explain the story up to that point. And after all that, after putting the instruction booklet away, we are now in the game. We can move. No tutorials are given. Read the instruction manual. If not, we can do this. Options. Now, we've got some effects here. We can have the film effect, which I believe is only available in New Game Plus mode, to give the game a bit of a oldish design, similar to the other cutscenes. Full pixel mode, as you can see here. I want to actually have it on because it's a lot more accurate to the PS2 version. Like if it had the borders actually 16:9 / widescreen. Or we could have full pixel mode off, where it's, well, universal for every widescreen TV, I guess. Hold type A. I do not know what this means. Yes, this game is capable of stereoscopic 3D. Of course, I'm not going to record that because I don't think the Roxy supports it. And, well, my TV isn't 3D compatible. If it is, you'll have to wear glasses anyway, so I don't exactly know how you could do that recording, but yeah. Button configuration, here we go. You can change the controls if you want to, but I'm used to these. Triangle, up, jump, makes sense. Attack for square, action for circle, release for X. Hold hand or call, what does that mean? We'll find that out later. And, of course, zoom. The camera is in kind of a... Oh yeah, players 1 and 2. That's a New Game Plus thing as well. But I think I'll cover that in another episode. Well, in the bonus episode, perhaps. When I have 2 controllers. So, that's a thing. Or with 2 people. So, yes, we have... we can use the second analog stick to have a look around. But the camera is in kind of a fixed position on a swivel. So... And if you want to zoom in, of course, you just hold... R2 and it zooms in, which is kind of like what you want to do quite a lot of the time on the PS2 version. There is literally no difference between the PS2 and the PS3 version other than the quality, so it's literally just a one-on-one remake. We've got a switch here. I keep forgetting, it's not jump, it's pull. I always do that. I had to restart my bloody speedrun because of that. And I will be showing one speedrun trick, and like I said, I've already got the ending speedrun segment as a separate video. I didn't show the whole thing off because it was kind of a pain and it would have been a mess to edit, and it's got no commentary, so there'll be speech bubble annotations appearing on screen throughout the video once I make that public. In case you haven't, if I didn't already say, that means I've already made them. So we can climb and do all that kind of stuff. You are technically invincible, but you do take fall damage, and it's basically one-hit kill. You're basically a glass cannon. You won't get hit by it. You won't get killed by like anything minor, like getting shoved around or punched in the face. But if it's like life-threatening, as in like you are going to fall and break your legs, you are going to fall and break your legs. Here's a thing on action. You can pick up pots and chuck them. They have nothing and no pickups in this game, so don't worry too much about that. We're just going to climb over here and go onwards. We need to escape. And there was literally nowhere else we could go in the other room because it changed, so I should have spent more time in there, but I've already wasted too much time explaining things. I seem to do that quite a lot, regardless. If you don't want to like waste time or walk around, you can just, you know, swivel the camera, and it seems like there's nothing up there to interact with, so... This room actually looks familiar from what we've already seen, funnily enough. If you could believe that, because we just barely started, but if we turn the camera upwards... There's that bird cage that we just saw in our foreshadowing dream. And like I said, it was foreshadowing. So that's kind of a thing. Yeah, there's a lot of ambience in this game. Not a lot of music, but when there is music, it's, for the most part, really good. Some of it I can't actually stop humming, but... Especially the theme song, but and the final boss, but... There's actually not much fighting in this game. Fighting's more of a second part to this game in a way. Is that the most... part of the gameplay is more like puzzle solving. That's pretty much what the whole game is about. So, get used to that. And that's probably one of the things why I think my mum actually liked it, because as it's puzzle orientated. She's not a fan of platformers or action games, but she likes games that have a lot of puzzle solving in a 3D environment, like the Tomb Raider games, this game in particular. The only platforming game I think she played was Evil Twin Sapiens Chronicles. But like I said, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because my mum doesn't play games at all. In fact, she doesn't like them most of the time, but this is one of the few that she actually loves. And that's amazing. And it's like something that we actually have in common. Because my dad was really the one who brought me up on gaming. Yeah, the voice acting could use a little bit of work, but yeah, that's not a shadowy figure. That was someone completely opposite. It was like glowing with radiant light. Interesting. So basically, we just had a prophetic dream of the future. Very near future, mind you. I have had some people do have dreams like that. I do, but it's all mostly like pointless stuff. Like, oh, I remember looking at this particular direction, so hearing this particular thing at this particular time, but I didn't realise until it just happened. Well, it's kind of like one of those things. But in this case, the prophetic dream was, well, changed by a nightmare because of his upbringing. So Understandable. Don't worry, I'll save you! You will be free! Problem is, now we gotta run all the way back down. And I'm not cutting out the backtracking, because it's kind of acquired in this game. Not in terms of like going back to places you've already visited to finish something off, but more like going back because something new is accessible to you. As in, but it's not like Metroid backtracking, where you, if you go back at certain points you can get something. It's more like you'll loop back around because you're now able to actually progress and escape. And it's very minor, so don't worry about that too much. Even though the rooms can be quite big and intimidating most of the time, it's actually pretty simple. It just uses the surroundings to, like, intimidate you. And yes, like I said, don't take shortcuts unless you know ICO's limit on dropping without killing himself or without stumbling. Well, I guess if you want to push it, because that's kind of essential for the speedrun. Plus, jumping is actually faster, because like, if I was walking up here and I was jumping continuously by mashing the button, you can't change direction, but he hops every time and it's way faster than just running. But because you're not able to change direction unless you pause for a moment to reorientate yourself, you could get stuck on a wall, and if you jump against a wall, he kind of flinches like that, so... Once you learn the physics, this is actually a speedrun heavy game once the PS3 version came out. Well, I don't know, maybe the PS2 version did have a speedrunning community. I didn't really see many speedruns of it until the PS3 version came out. But, that's like I said, it's because of the trophy. And I did push myself to get that trophy, it was ridiculous. That was actually the second time I had to do the end, because I was like 4 seconds over, and I was like, are you serious? But yeah, we want to come up this way. Just talking to fill up the time. Like I said, it's a very quiet game, so it's just normal, casual. It did not reach the floor. So why don't we give it a jump? Bang! You better improve on your balance, boy. That's going to be terrible otherwise. Aren't you radiant? Definitely the complete opposite of what we saw in the dream. Oh no you don't. Let me grab this. Come here, you mug. Hey! Haha! Wait, where's the... Oh, I'm doing the wrong bloody button. I haven't played this game in a while. I didn't practice for the Let's Play, but I know what I'm doing. I swear. I was trying to press X to jump. As other games. Right, so how about we press R1 while we're next to her and help her up. Alright, so that was a shadow being. Think of them as early versions of Heartless if you want to, but really all they will do is punch you out of the way in order to pick up this girl. We don't know her name yet, or if she has one, considering she was locked up in this thing. But they weren't after us for whatever reason, yet we only just escaped, but they're after her. Maybe it's because of her radiant glow? Let's have a little zoom in quickly here on her design. She's got a weird ethereal gown that she's wearing. Sorry, the camera moving when zoomed in is very sensitive. She's barefoot. Seems to be very delicate, but she towers over Aiko. And yet she's the weak one. Which is interesting. I don't actually like your hand there, buddy. Well, that was awkward. But yeah. Yeah, and we also have our first weapon. A stick. It's shit. It's mostly used for puzzles, and it's your only weapon for quite a while, and that was our first instance of a shadow being. Even though that was actually a stage 1, there's a stage 0 because they don't actually pick her up or anything. But stage 1 normally take about 12 hits with the plank, I think. But yeah, so we can't really go back through the windows. They're too high up. Going back up doesn't solve anything. But she does have this radiant light. And if you remember, that sword at the beginning has a radiant light. And it moved these things out of the way. So what if, by putting 2 and 2 together, she has the power! The sword's based off of her power. That might be why they're after her. How did you do that? I have no clue. But yes, if I let go of her and try to just climb up here, press the wrong button again. What's the matter with me? It's Luigi's Mansion all over again. If we call her when she's far away, she will try to follow you herself. But if we try and do this, she will eventually climb up herself. But of course, walking with her is obviously the faster method. But she does kind of pull you back and slow your movement speed down a bit. But this is your main method of how you're going to be travelling with her. Unless you play 2-player, of course. But like I said, I'll get to that later. And we see the outside, and it's beautiful. Yes, those are 2D trees. It was PS2. Hello? She seems interested in this glowing chair. This weird sofa. Well. Oh. Okay, I'll come and join you. You gonna sit? Or do I have to press call? Let me call then. Come on. And there we go. That is your method of saving. You both have to sit on one of these glowing sofas made of rock in order to save. When you're speedrunning, you don't want to save at every checkpoint, even though that would make a bit of sense. The reason being is because that, well, it eats up time trying to get her to sit in the first place. In this case, she taught us how to save before we progressed. In the PS2 version, she doesn't do that. You have to figure that out for yourself. But then again, it's glowing, she glows, you've just literally opened up an idle doorway in order to do that. And you get 10 save files for this game. That seems a little bit much, but remember, if you're trying to do a speedrun, you probably want to make multiple saves. Which, like I said, I think this game also tailors to the extreme speedrunner community. But, like I said, I'm not entirely too sure about that, since you don't actually have any reason to do so until the PS3 version came out with the achievements. But yes, this means I can make multiple backups of saves without any issue, even though there will be a few seconds difference. I'm not entirely too bothered with that. But yes, we're going to save here. Old Bridge on a New Game Plus file, 16 minutes in. Yes, I know that this video is probably twice as long as that, but we had a lot to cover, so that's a thing. So, I think for the first episode of this miniature small Let's Play series of ICO, I think we're going to end it off there. So in the next episode, guys, I feel like we should walk across this bridge and make it to those idol statues. Until then, see you guys next time.